Whenever we watch motorsports, we're totally captivated by the speed, right? The incredible cornering, the pure thrill of the race. But have you ever thought about what's underneath those tires? That surface those multi-million-dollar machines are racing on is in itself a masterpiece of extreme engineering. So, yeah, let's dive into this. This quote from the wizards at Dromo Circuit Design, it just says it all, doesn't it? It gets right to the point. We might see a simple ribbon of blacktop, but what we're really looking at is one of the most specialized, most demanding structures that humans can possibly build.
So what's the big deal? How does this seemingly simple surface become so unbelievably complex? Well, it turns out the forces at play in racing push materials and design to their absolute breaking point, way, way beyond anything we see on our public roads.
To really wrap our heads around this, we have to get one thing straight right away. The asphalt on a racetrack is fundamentally completely different from the asphalt on your local highway. It's not even in the same league.
Okay, this is where it gets really cool, the physics of it. A highway, right? It's built for vertical loads, basically the weight of a huge truck pushing straight down. Simple enough, but a racetrack, oh man, it has to survive these immense shear forces. Think of it like this. Imagine trying to violently shove a giant heavy encyclopedia across a plush carpet. That sideways tearing, ripping friction, that's shear force. Now, scale that up to a 1,000 horsepower beast on super sticky tires, literally trying to rip the top layer of asphalt clean off at 300 kilometers an hour. That is the battle a racetrack surface is fighting in every single corner.
So how in the world do you even begin to design a surface that can handle forces like that? Well, it all starts long before any construction crew shows up. It starts in the digital world with a plan to basically script the perfect racing experience. Historically, there were kind of two ways to build a track. The old school, intuitive way was just adapting to the land you had, right? Following the natural curves in the hills. But the modern engineering approach, it's a totally different ballgame. It is all about meticulous, obsessive planning, using data and simulation to craft every single moment of the lap. And this just illustrates that process perfectly. On the left, you've got the mind-bending math that describes the pure physics of a corner. And on the right, you see the beautiful result. Every single high-speed corner, every perfectly banked turn, is literally the physical manifestation of these complex calculations. It's where the cold, hard logic of engineering gives birth to the heart-pounding art of racing.
Using this specialized simulation software, engineers model every single variable you can imagine. We're talking about the precise curvature of a bend, the camber, which is that slight inward tilt of the road that helps cars and bikes just carry way more speed through a corner, and even the sight lines for the driver. And they are absolutely obsessed with drainage, because water is public enemy number one. A tiny miscalculation here could turn incredible speed into incredible danger.
Okay, let's move from the digital world to the real one. Because once that design is locked in, the truly massive work begins, with a foundation that, honestly, almost no one will ever get to see.
Just look at the sheer scale of this. The track that you see on race day is just the tiny, polished tip of a massive engineering iceberg. What you don't see are the meters-deep layers of compacted earth, the specialized drainage systems snaking underneath, and a reinforced foundation built to withstand forces that would crack a normal road to pieces in a single season. All of that invisible work is what makes the visible part even possible. So here's the breakdown of what's really happening here. First, the site is scraped completely clean, all the topsoil, grass, roots, everything, to stop the ground from settling later. Then, any old infrastructure, like those old concrete runways at Silverstone, gets totally dismantled. The entire area is then graded to the exact elevations from the digital model. And finally, the foundation is reinforced to a standard that's basically the same as an airport runway. And all of that is just to support that final perfect layer of asphalt. And now we get to the main event, the part that separates a good track from a truly legendary one, creating and applying that specialized asphalt surface.
I absolutely love this analogy from the team at Dromo. Creating the perfect asphalt mix is totally a science, but it's also an art. I mean, anyone can have a recipe, the list of ingredients, right? But the final quality, that all comes down to the skill of the cooker, the engineer who finds the materials, mixes them just right, and adapts to whatever conditions get thrown at them.
And trust me, the challenges are immense. You want to use local stone, of course, but is it strong enough? For the Mandalika circuit over in Indonesia, engineers were scouring the entire country for the right materials. They even shipped samples all the way to Europe for testing just to perfect the mix. And even after all that, the raw materials arriving at the plant might not be consistent. forcing the team to constantly tweak and adapt the recipe on the fly.
But even the world's greatest recipe is useless if you can't cook it perfectly. And when it comes to laying down this asphalt, perfect has a very, very specific meaning. The only way to achieve it is with some serious technology. We're talking laser-controlled pavers that make sure the surface has the exact smoothness, density, and planarity, which is just a fancy term for how perfectly level and even the surface is, required for both ultimate performance and, of course, driver safety.
But here's the thing. Even with the best plans, the best materials, and the best technology, building a racetrack always comes down to one final, completely unpredictable variable: the human element. And that's the absolute reality on the ground. It's not this clean, simple process you might imagine. It's a constant battle against time, against the weather, against totally unexpected problems. And in those moments, it's the teamwork and the expertise of the crew that makes all the difference.
Oh, the story of the Mandalika resurfacing is just a perfect storm of high-pressure engineering. Just try to imagine this. On day one, the multi-million-dollar pavers start creating these tiny little ripples, just 1 or 2 millimeters high. But at 350 kilometers an hour, those are basically launch ramps. A potential disaster. Day two, the lifeline of the whole operation, the asphalt plant, breaks down. Everything grinds to a screeching halt. Then, on the final day, with the finish line literally in sight, the last 300 meters, they realize they're short on a critical part of the mix. This is real-time, high-stakes problem-solving at its most intense.
And what it took was an absolutely incredible human effort. A 16-person specialist team was flown in, and they were working 14 to 15-hour days. They were doing everything: laser scanning the surface, flying survey drones, constantly testing the mix in the lab, guiding production at the plant. Every single person had a critical role in this complex, fast-moving ballet of machinery and material. So, the next time you see a machine being pushed to its absolute limit on that ribbon of asphalt, just remember what lies beneath. It's not just a road. It's a precisely designed, painstakingly constructed, and passionately built stage for the art of speed. A true masterpiece of hidden engineering.